welcome back to Anatomia. Today we will discuss one of the most important topic of the axial skeletal, that is skull. So what is skull? It is the skeletal structure of the head that protects the brain and supports the facial structure. Now we need to know the function of the skull. And skull, we have brain case and we have the facial bone. Facial bone we call it visceral cranium, and brain case we call it neurocranium. So what is the function of neurocranium? Neurocranium, it supports and protects the brain and houses the middle and inner ear structure. Then we have the facial bone. It underlies the facial structure. It forms the nasal cavity. It includes the eye walls and supports the teeth of upper and lower jaw. And you need to know the human skull consists of 22 bones. Among these 22 bones, 21 of the bones are immobile, and the 22nd bone, that is the mandible or lower jaw, it is the only bone that is mobile. So human skull is divided into two parts, that is the brain case and we have the facial skeleton. Brain case we call it neurocranium and facial skeleton we call it viscerocranium. So we have 22 skull bone. Among these 22 we have 8 neurocranium and 14 facial skeleton. So there is a great mnemonic to remember the facial bone and the neurocranium. Mnemonic, we have all the people from Texas eat spiders. O stands for occipital, P stands for parietal, F stands for frontal, T stands for temporal, E stands for ethmoid, and S stands for sphenoid. Among these 8 bones, we have parietal pair bone and we have temporal pair, and these occipital are unpaired, frontal unpaired, and ethmoid unpaired, and sphenoid unpaired. Now we have a great mnemonic for facial skeleton, that is my mandible chew 9 very large zucchini pizzas. M stands for mandible, that is unpaired one, and again mandible, in mandible M stands for maxilla, that is paired one. Then C stands for concave, inferior nasal concave, that is paired. Then we have N stands for nasal bone, that is paired. V stands for vomer bone, that is unpaired one. Then we have L stands for lacrimal bone, that is paired. Then Z stands for zygomatic bone, that is paired. Then we have P stands for palatine bone, that is paired. In this diagram, I will show you the 8 neurocranium, that is, first of all, we start from frontal bone. This one, we have the frontal bone, that is unpaired bone. Then we have the parietal bone, this one, parietal bone, this is paired bone. Then we have the occipital, that is unpaired bone. Then we have the temporal bone, this is paired bone. Then we have the sphenoid bone, that is unpaired. This one, sphenoid bone, this is unpaired. Then we have the ethmoid bone, this is also unpaired bone. In this diagram, I will discuss the facial bone, in which I will show you the front view and the side view of the skull. And we know we have 14 facial bone. This one you can see, this one is the nasal bone, this one is the anterior view, and this one is the lateral view of the skull. This one is the lacrimal bone, that is paired bone. Then we have the zygomatic bone. This one bone, zygomatic bone, you can see this one is also paired bone. Then we have the inferior nasal concave, that is also the paired bone, you can see. Then we have the vomer bone. Vomer bone, this is the unpaired bone. Then we have maxilla, you can see maxilla. Maxilla, it is also paired. This one, and you can see maxilla. This one is also paired. Then we have the mandible, that is unpaired bone. In the lateral view, you can see this one zygomatic, and this one you can see lacrimal bone, and this green color you can see nasal bone, and this one is the maxilla, and this part is the mandible, and this one is the only bone, that is mobile bone, and among all the bone, this is the only mobile bone. So next one we have the cranial sutures. Cranial sutures. What is cranial sutures? Cranial sutures, we can say this is the fibrous bands of the tissue that connects the two bones of the skull. In another word, we can say this is the anatomical lines that connects the two bony plates. So we'll discuss the different types of sutures. First of all, we have the coronal suture. Coronal suture, it is present between the frontal bone and the parietal bone. Then we have the sagittal suture. It is present between the two parietal bone. It connects the two parietal bone. Then we have the squamous suture that connects the temporal bone and the parietal bone. Then we have the lambdoidal suture that connects the occipital bone and the parietal bone. Now we will discuss the bones of the brain case or neurocranium, and we will discuss each bone separately. First of all, we need to know the bones of the brain case. It consists of cranial root, that is also called calvarium or skull cap, and we have the skull base, or we can say cranial base. So the cranial root or skull cap, it is formed by the bone frontal, occipital, and two parietal bone. So what bone comprise the cranial roof? It is the frontal, occipital, and two parietal bone. Now skull base. Skull base, it is comprised of frontal bone, sphenoid bone, ethmoid bone, occipital bone, parietal bone, and temporal bone. Now the base forming bone articulates with the first cervical vertebra, that is called atlas, and it also articulates with the facial bone and mandible, that is the lower jaw. Now inside the skull, the base is subdivided into three large space, that is called fossa, and we have the three fossa, that is anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, and we have the posterior cranial fossa. And you have to note the point that when we move from anterior to the posterior, the depth of the fossa increases, and the shape and depth of the each fossa correspond to the shape and size of the brain region. It means whatever be the size and shape of the brain region, the fossa will correspond to that region. Now I will discuss the parietal bone. Parietal bone, it is the cranial bone forming the part of the side and the top of the head, or we can say the parietal bone, it is the bilateral bone that is forming the superior and the lateral aspect of the head, and it is the paired neurocranium. It is flat and arched bone, and individual parietal bone is quadrilateral in shape. Now I will discuss the landmark or distinguishing feature of the parietal bone. First of all, we will discuss the surface, then borders, then angles. So now we will discuss the surface. Parietal bone, it has two surfaces. First of all, we discuss the outer surface, then inner surface. Outer surface, it is convex and a smooth surface, and when we see the outer surface or the external surface of the parietal bone, we will see the many structure, but three main important structure is the parietal tuber, parietal foramen, and arc line. We will visualize two arc line, that is the superior temporal line and inferior temporal line. Then we will discuss the inner surface. Inner surface, it is concave in shape, and it consists of four main structure. We will find the vascular marking, sagittal sinus, granular pits, and part of the sigmoidal sulcus. Then we will discuss the borders. We have the four borders: superior border, inferior border, anterior border, and posterior border. Then we will discuss angles. We have four angles. First one, we have anterior superior angle. It is also called frontal angle. Then we have also the anterior inferior angle. It is called sphenoidal angle. Why this angle is named according to their correspondence to the location. Then we have the posterior superior angle, that is called occipital angle. Then we have the posterior inferior angle, that is called the mastoid angle. Now I will show you the diagram. Then you will be easily find the every structures and the angles of the parietal bone. Now we will discuss the outer surface of the parietal bone. When we visualize the outer surface of the parietal bone, we will see the three main structure, that is parietal tuber. You can see this one is the parietal tuber. Now we have the parietal foramen. This one structure, parietal foramen, and we have the two arc line. You can see first arc line. It is the superior temporal line, that is arc shaped, and then we have the inferior temporal line. And we know we have the four borders: anterior border, posterior border, then we have the inferior border, this one inferior border, then we have the superior border. Now we have the four angle. Four angles. First one angle it is frontal angle. Frontal angle it is also called anterior superior angle because it lies anteriorly and superiorly. Then we have the sphenoidal angle. Sphenoidal angle it is called antero inferior angle because it lies anteriorly but inferiorly. Then we have the mastoid angle. Mastoid angle it is also called a posterior inferior angle. And we have the occipital angle. This is called as the posterior superior angle. So now I will explain the inner surface of the parietal bone. When we will visualize the inner surface of the parietal bone, we will see the four main structure, that is vascular marking. This one is the vascular marking. Vascular marking. We have the groove. We have a groove for posterior division of middle meningeal vessels, and we also have the groove for anterior division of the middle meningeal vessels, and we have also the sagittal sinus. This one, you can see this at the superior aspect. You can see the superior sagittal sinus. Then we have the granular pits, and we have also the part of sigmoid sulcus. That is the main characteristic features of the inner surface of the parietal bone. So next we have the temporal bone. Temporal bone it is a pair bone of bilateral. It is a pair of bilateral bone, symmetrical bones that forms a long portion of the lateral wall and the base of the skull. Now we have the five parts of the temporal bone. First one part it is the squamous part. Then we have the tympanic part. Then we have the sternoid process. Then we have the petromastoid part. Then we have the zygomatic process. Now what is the characteristic feature of the squamous part? It is the largest part and it is flat and plate-like structure. And the outer surface is convex in nature, and the lower part is the site for the attachment of the temporalis muscles. Then we have the tympanic part. Tympanic part it lies interiorly to the squamous part and interiorly to the petromastoid portion. Then it surrounds the external auditory opening and leads to the external auditory meatus. Then we have the sternoid process. It is located immediately underneath the opening to the auditory meatus, and it acts as the attachment for several small muscles and for ligament that supports the higher bone of the neck. Then we have the petromastoid part. The petromastoid portion it lies posteriorly and it is split into two parts: petrous part and the mastoid process. The petrous part it is the pyramidal structure, and the mastoid process it is an inferior bone that is palpable just behind the projection of the ear, and it is the site for the attachment of the various muscles like sternocleidomastoid muscles. And then we have the zygomatic process that arises from the lower part of the squama temporalis, and it projects anteriorly, articulating with the temporal process of the zygomatic process. So in this diagram, I will explain the parts of the temporal bone. First one part, we have the squamous part. This one, plate-like structure, squamous part. Then we have the zygomatic process. You can see that projects anteriorly. And then we have the tympanic part. This one structure. Then we have the styloid process. Then we have the petromastoid process that lies posteriorly. In this diagram, I will explain the landmark feature of the temporal bone, in which we will see the external surface as well as the internal surface of the temporal bone. First of all, we will start with the external surface. So, what is the landmark feature of the external surface? You know this one, the plate-like structure that is called the temporal squama or squamous part of the temporal bone. Then we have the external acoustic meatus, and we have the mastoid process. This one, and this one is the mastoid foramen. This one, mastoid foramen, and we have the zygomatic process that lies anteriorly or projecting anteriorly, and we also have the articular tubercle that helps in the joint formation. Then we have the internal structure. We have the internal, you can see this one, it is the internal acoustic meatus, and then we have the carotid canal. It is a carotid canal through which the carotid artery passes. Then we have the styloid process, and we have the hiatus for lesser petrosal nerve, and the hiatus for the greater petrosal nerve.